everyone, and welcome to episode 127 of the Talk is Cheap show. It's a swelteringly hot day today in London. What can I say, man? Maybe we should call this edition Feeling Hot, Hot, Hot. But no, man, it's good to see you, man.
Yeah.
Back again in the house. Mr. Curtis Shaw from Curtis Shaw TV. What are you saying, bro?
That's a short intro.
It is a short intro because we've got a lot to talk about in a short period of time, so I've got to condense it. So no elaborate introductions today. Suffice to say, it's good to see you here, man, and I'm looking forward to hear what you got to say today. Now that we know that the fixtures are out, it's the biggest talking point in town, man. What have you been up to, by the way?
Same old, man. Content. Obviously, we've got some nice weather at last, so
yeah, man.
You know what I mean? You can fling on a pair of shorts and t-shirt, but
I hear you've been out and about.
Yeah.
A little rumour has it you was around by Box Park the other day.
No, not me, bro.
Wearing a blue do-rag.
No, not me, bro. You know, I know how to duck them ones. I don't want to say too much, but yeah.
You know what, though? Shout out to my boy Julius Francis, man, because we know him, innit? Like we've obviously done some filming at Box Park over the years, and we got to know. I knew Julius from before, my boxing connections. But yeah, man, so man's gone viral.
Listen, if you're going to pick a fight, you don't pick it with a man that's fought Mike Tyson, you know, just don't.
Former British and Commonwealth heavyweight champion. I mean, it's not the smartest of moves, is it?
No, not the smart.
But I've got to say, man, like, you know, listen, the video's been seen like 20 million plus times now, they're estimating. I'm going to say, man, dude deserved it, bro. You know what I mean?
You got to behave, ain't
you? Got to, when you come at people like that, and you're, you know what I mean, in people's faces and calling them names and wishing that you had a heart attack and pushing and assaulting people. Apparently he was spitting at people as well. Not a good look. No, we don't like to see that. But having said that, man, I think Julius, what could he have done differently?
Defending
you know
himself,
what I mean? If you go there and you're looking for smoke. But anyway, that's that. I think the guy's still sleeping. I hope he wakes up soon. But moving on then. Right, so news and notes. England games, man. Nations League's been a couple of games. I know you're excited to want to talk about that.
You'd rather watch paint dry, I think.
England, Italy, snooze fest.
Yeah.
And then humiliation, man. I'm warning you. Bloody hell.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't know which team was which. I thought Hungary were the team that had reached, you know, the European final. But listen, I know everyone's in a bit of a meltdown, but I'm not getting too caught up on it. I don't think Southgate is an elite manager, but you know, I think he deserves to go to the World Cup and manage the team. He's been in a semi-final and a final. I think the players just want to be on the beach, man.
You think
at the end of a 60-game season, you don't want 4 international games.
That's right.
So listen, they were poor, but I don't think it's the end of the world.
No, I would agree with you, man. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, like you said, the players must be very tired, fatigued, and it's probably games that, if they were being honest, they probably wish they were anywhere else but Molyneux, you know what I mean, on a midweek night when they could be on the beach. But, you know, it's not looking good for Southgate at the moment, is it?
No, the fans turned on him.
Yeah, they turned on him, you know. You don't know what you're doing. That can't be nice for a manager to hear, especially after, you know, let's be honest. He's got to a World Cup semi-final and a Euros final.
Yeah.
Yes, the last couple of results haven't gone to plan, but I think it's a bit harsh, man. Yeah. Lay off the guy, man. You know what I mean? Lay off. Talking of international football, you can see it there, man. Reggae boys.
Picking up points,
man. Another creditable performance.
Yeah.
1-1 against Mexico.
Should have won.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, man.
It was a good performance. I stayed up for it, watched it. Leon Bailey header. Few of the players weren't playing. No Antonio, no Andre Gray and that. But listen, it's improved since the madness that occurred a few weeks ago. It could only go one way, really. So hopefully they keep
couldn't have got much worse. But hey, man, it's all good. Yeah. Okay, moving on from that then. Transfer activity, or as we like to say,
lack thereof.
But there's a few things happening, man.
Yeah.
There's a few things happening. Marquinhos.
Yeah.
Buy him, put him out on loan job, is it?
Not the PSG one, but yeah. But listen, we didn't know Martinelli when we signed him. We didn't know Martinelli when we signed him, so You know, I don't mind.
What do you know about? Tell the people what you know about this.
Not a lot, mate. I'll tell you. I went on YouTube, watched a few clips. I think last season was his breakthrough season, right winger. I don't mind trying to sign a few of these because, you know, I think because of all this Brexit thing, leaving, now it's easier to get a work permit in this country. So I don't mind tapping up that Brazilian market, man. There's a lot of talent there. So, yeah, I don't mind that. £3 million is peanuts.
And to echo what you said there, and we spoke about this on previous shows, clubs do need to be creative, especially teams like Arsenal, where, let's be honest, we're not going to sign the Haalands or the Darwin Núñezes of this world. So, you know what I mean, we have to look further afield and anywhere where you can unearth quality players, you know what I mean, you've got to try and tap into that market. So, listen, man, I hope it goes well. I hope we get a look at him. You know, let's see what happens. I guess the main story at the moment surrounds Mr. Gabriel Jesus. It looks like that could be on.
Yeah.
We did speak about it last week, and I was asking you, so look, what's going on, man? You know what I mean? From the end of this last season, there was talks of him coming to Arsenal. Nothing much has happened in the interim, but now we're hearing a bid's been put in, and it could happen. What's your thoughts? You think it'll happen?
I do. I said before, I do think this deal will happen. I think they're saying now him and his agent are back in England. They're saying £50 million bid, and I think we'll get the deal done at that. I think City will take that. I think a couple of weeks ago, I think you would have said a lower price than that. But I think because of
50 mil is
50 mil, I think
is what we're hearing.
Other clubs have shown interest, so City
that
have
probably bumped the price
pushed the price up. But listen, we're in no position to be, you know, we need to get the deal done, and I think it'll be a good signing. I think it's a good signing. It'll be a positive start to the window. I think every Arsenal fan is desperate to see a big name come through the door. I know Marquinhos coming, but we need bigger and better players than that. So I think that'll be a good start to the window, and then hopefully they build upon that. But I think I'll be happy to see him come in. The more it looks as if it's getting closer, I'm a little bit more excited about it.
So, Tielemans, any word on that?
Yeah, I mean, they're saying with that, I think one of the reporters said by the end of the month they expect that one. So with Arsenal, though, you never know, do you? You don't want to, you know, celebrate too early. But those two would be good signings, man.
And I've got to ask you, we now know that Bissouma is a guy that you'd earmarked for Arsenal's midfield, as well as a lot of other fans. He's gone to Tottenham. Now, that's a kind of double whammy, isn't it? Not only did we not get him, but he's gone to one of our deadly rivals. What was your thoughts on that?
I mean, initially I was disappointed, I can't lie. And when I see a price of 25 million, I'm like, oh, that deal made so much sense. I honestly don't think Arsenal really wanted him. I'm not just saying that as an excuse. I just don't think they were really in for him. I think they want a creative ball-playing midfielder like Tielemans. Bissouma's not really that kind of player. I think it was more the fan base wanted him than the actual club. I would have probably, I mean, you said this, I would have more likely let El Neni or Xhaka go and brought Bissouma in that position. But I think with them giving El Neni a contract, Xhaka got a deal last year, still got Lukongu, still got Partey. I think they'll only probably sign one midfielder, and that'll be Tielemans. I would have liked Tielemans and Bissouma, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Okay, then that's the transfer activity taken care of for now. So let's talk about what we're here to talk about. So unless people have been living under a rock, which I assume they haven't been, then they would know that the Premier League fixtures for the 2022-23 season are now out. We've had a chance to look at them. It's been covered in depth on the channel by some of our other presenters, so we're not going to go there. But what I thought we would do is do a little synopsis of it and maybe come out with 6 major talking points arising from the fixtures being announced. You okay with that, guys?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, so let's go. Right, so we look at the fixtures and straight away you're looking for that opening fixture, aren't you? And we see it there, Palace away, Friday night. It's like the season curtain raiser, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, 2 times in a row now. But that, I would say, is a very difficult first game, isn't it? Friday night, London derby against a team that, you know, over recent years we've not performed that well against, Palace. They beat us comfortably last season at their place. What was your thoughts when you saw that? Leap out at the page at you, Palace away.
Do you know what? I've got to be honest, outside of the so-called top 6, big 6 in the Premier League, I think this is one of the hardest fixtures we could have got, especially with it being away from home. Sky, Listen, Sky know what they're doing. They know the Arsenal fan base are very...
It was rigged.
Well, listen, Sky know that the Arsenal fan base were an emotional bunch, you know, and they know, listen, if Arsenal were to get beat by Palace, we're going to be going crazy for the whole week. So it's set up Patrick Vieira, you know, Zaha.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult game. What I will say is Arsenal need to be prepared for it, and you need to get your transfer business done. You can't be going to Palace underprepared, you know, on a Friday night on Sky, all the eyes of the world watching. They're going to go for us. They beat us comfortably this season just gone. We need the signings through the door. If you're getting Tielemans, you're getting Jesus, get them in. We need Partey back fit, Tierney fit, Saliba back. If we're at full strength, we can beat Palace. If we go there underprepared, it'll be a long, long night. So it's down to, you know, your Edus, your Artetas and your Kroenkes to get us in the right position for it. But it's definitely a tough start.
Definitely a tough start. I mean, obviously what we're saying is kind of hypothetical because you don't know who's going to be playing.
Exactly.
There's still time to go, and there's still going to be transfer activity for both teams. So we don't know. But I think it's fair to say that first game is a real... it's a real game, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, I must say. It's a type of challenge, though, that Arsenal should embrace.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah,
I know I've embraced it.
If you win that game, you've won the first game of the season, you know, and obviously we're going to talk about it, but the next fixtures after that are reasonably favourable. So they have to embrace the challenge. You've got to go there and try and beat them.
So that's our first major talking point. Can we get off to a big start in what is a massive, massive game? Like I said, it's a curtain raiser game.
Yeah.
The corresponding game last season, we got, you know, let's face it.
Yeah, just say it. we all
Brentford, and it kind of set the tone for that first 3 or 4 weeks where you were people talking about relegation and stuff like that. But I don't think it will be as bad this time. I'm optimistic that we can get a result. But hey, it is what it is, man. I'm looking forward to it. So, but then, like you said, that's the prelude, and then you got, you know, a run of games after Leicester, Bournemouth, Fulham, and Villa that have, you would have thought are winnable.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, because I mean, last year the bad thing was after that Brentford game we had Chelsea and Man City.
Yeah.
This year, like you said, Leicester at home, you know, Bournemouth newly promoted, Fulham newly promoted. I would think we should be coming out of that month with, I would say, at least 12 points out of those first 5 games. If we've got any real ambition, that's a decent month to start the season.
It is. Although there is a school of thought, and I've heard a few AFTV presenters and Arsenal fans say that you don't really want to be taking on the newly promoted teams in the first part of the season because they're still full of energy, young, fresh, and, you know what I mean, raring to go. And a team like Arsenal rock up and you see these guys, man, they're playing out of their skins, you know what I mean? So there is that as well. But I would agree, man. I mean, Bournemouth and Fulham, we should really be beating those guys, man.
Yeah.
No disrespect, but come on, man. Leicester, that'll be a challenge. And Villa, you know what I mean, they had an up and down season last season. I expect them to
And they're being linked with, I think Luis Suarez being linked with a move to them at the moment. So
yeah.
But still at home, you know, you've got to be beating them.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Another major talking point, I would say, is in September, the Europa League starts. And so you're talking about your Thursday, Sunday combination. Do you think that will impact either positively or negatively on the season?
I suppose the travelling and playing on a Sunday is negative, you know, because it tires the squad out. Where I suppose it is a positive, you can keep the whole squad involved.
Right.
Because that gives your fringe players opportunities to play. And keep them sharp as well. So it depends how you use it. I always think the Europa League group stage is not that difficult. In years gone by, we've kind of strolled through the group stage, you know. But yeah.
Of course, you've got to counterbalance that with the fact that we do have a couple of, 3 potentially difficult games: Man United, Everton, and Brentford in that month. So you know,
that's where it can get more difficult.
It can get tricky. So definitely the Europa League will impact. Yeah. It's how it impacts. It will be positive or negative. Obviously, we'd like to think it'll be a positive impact, but nevertheless, that is a talking point, the Europa League and how that will affect us. October. Now that has been described as some on the channel as a month from hell. 6 games in that month.
Yeah.
Tottenham, Liverpool, Leeds, Man City, Southampton and Forest, who you know a lot about. Month from hell? Or another challenge to be embraced?
Yeah, it depends how we deal with it. And again, you got to chuck Europa League fixtures in that as well. But I mean, just look at it. I mean, Tottenham's a home game. You know, we've got a great record against Tottenham. Liverpool at home will be tough. Leeds, we battered them last year. Man City's a tough one. Southampton's winnable. Forest is winnable. You know,
it wasn't very winnable.
Yeah,
last
it wasn't last season, but listen, it can be the month from hell if you don't get a hold of it. You know what I mean? Yeah, but if you deal with it, then. You know.
I think it's important to note, people, that you've got to underpin all these discussions by the fact that it's very much hypothetical. You don't know what teams are going to be taking the field, so we are speculating. So you've got to take that into consideration. But nevertheless, I would say that October is looking like a real tough month. You've got 6 games in that month, and you've got your Europa League commitments as well. And on top of that, there's some heavy hitters in there, man.
Yeah.
The North London derby, Liverpool, even Leeds away is not an easy game, man.
Yeah.
Man City, even though we're at home, that is a traditionally very tough fixture for us. And of course, like we said, Southampton, who have done well against us in the past, and Forest. So, yeah, man. And then after that, it got a couple of games in November, Chelsea and Wolves. But of course, November is pivotal because it's the start of the World Cup. Now, it's my contention that the World Cup will have an effect on teams.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a lot of teams there with players going to the World Cup. Some of them are going to be their best players, and you don't know how that's going to affect the players in terms of how long they're going to be out there, the mental aspect of it all. What's your thoughts on that?
I was looking at it the other day thinking, throughout our squad, the players that will be going, how many of them would you expect to really go far in the World Cup? I don't think there's that many. Maybe Saka, Smith Rowe if they're with England, maybe Ramsdale if he's playing, and then maybe the Brazilian boys if they're in the squad. So, it will have an effect. And we play Chelsea and Wolves away before the World Cup. So you don't want to go to the World Cup with a couple of bad results. You know what I mean? You want to go there after a decent result. So, but the World Cup's going to have a big effect. Also, when it finishes, I think there's only 8 days break between the World Cup final and then the next fixture. So they're not going to get a lot of rest, so you need a big squad this year. I think even when you're signing a player, you would rather sign a player that isn't going to the World Cup. They were saying with Haaland at Man City, Norway haven't qualified, so he's going to be fresh, where other players, I mean, Odegaard plays for Norway, so that's a player that won't be going. So the World Cup's going to have a big effect on the season, I think. Definitely.
I mean, you mentioned like Brazil there. I mean, you think about the potential. You could be losing Jesus, Martinelli, Gabriel. You know what I mean? Those are 3 of our best players. Assuming that we get Gabriel.
If we get Jesus,
Gabriel, Jesus, sorry. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Well, that could be significant.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? If you're signing these top players.
And then, like I said, there are other players. I mean, Eddie, he'll be going with Ghana. I mean, no disrespect to my Ghanaian brothers, but
you don't think they'll be there for that long?
I don't see them being in the latter stages of that World Cup, if I'm being honest. As much as I'd like them to be.
Yeah.
But that group that they got is tough, man. Yeah. South Korea, Portugal and Uruguay.
They could be home by the end of the week. I mean, if that doesn't go well, that's a tough group,
It's a tough group, man.
Yeah,
so, But listen, there's no doubt that the World Cup will have an effect.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it's not just Arsenal. There'll be a number of teams with player representatives at the World Cup. So I guess, again, we'll have to see how they go. But then again, it is a talking point. So, that's talking point number 4. Looking through the fixtures, bro, overall, what would you say? I mean, there is another tough month coming up in, I think it's April, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's another month from hell. You've got Leeds, Liverpool, Leeds at home, Liverpool away, West Ham away, Southampton at home, Man City away, and Chelsea at home. That's quite brutal.
That's a tough month.
6 games in the space of a month, and again, you'll have your Europa League commitments and cup commitments, Carabao Cup and stuff like that would have thought going on around about that time of year.
Again, it's one of them, isn't it? If we're, I mean, April, you're at the business end of the season, and if things are going well, you embrace those games. If you're struggling, it's a nightmare. So it's hard, isn't it, to see that far down the line. But look, for me, I think the opening fixtures in particular are favourable. I think if we can manage that Crystal Palace game, if we go to Palace and get beat, it's already an uphill struggle. If we can go there and get a result, then I think those next few games, I think that's a good start to the season, a good opportunity to get points on the board by the end of the first month. You know, you're up there at the top of the league. It's a better start than last season. Because after Brentford, we had Chelsea and Man City, which was a nightmare.
Yeah.
We weren't prepared. We hadn't signed all our players. I think some players were out with COVID at the time. So I think that is a better start to the season. But Palace that is literally a 50-50 game. You know, if we haven't signed the right players, we will struggle there big time.
I think what I'm worried about with the Palace game is, especially when you relate it to what happened last season with Brentford, if we go there and it doesn't go well for us, and when I say it doesn't go well for us, you know what I'm talking about. If we get beaten quite comprehensively, which could happen, let's be honest, it's the first game of the season. Literally anything can happen on the first game of the season. I'm just worried that the mood music will not be good. And so that's why I think that is crucial. You know what I mean? If we get, as we said earlier, if we get through that game in a good way, then I would suggest that the next games after that are, like I said before.
I think with this Arsenal team, it's about handling occasions. I feel like sometimes they've shown their inexperience. They can't handle certain games. You know, Palace, Friday night on Sky, Zaha's going to be fired up, Vieira's going to want to beat us again. They've got to handle the occasion. In reality, we're a better team than Crystal Palace. So if we play well, we should win the game. But when we've gone there, we haven't handled the whole situation. I just, like I said, when we played them this season just gone, Tierney was injured. I think Partey got injured in that game, actually. You know, you're hoping that your Jesus, your Tielemans, a few signings, Saliba's back, Tierney's back, Partey's back. It's a different outlook if you got them. But listen, it's a tough game. On one hand, I can see Zaha running wild, Vieira celebrating, and it's a nightmare. But on the other hand, if we're prepared for it, we can go there and beat Palace. But it's just as long as the signings are through the door.
That's right. And we spoke about October and April, and we spoke about the effects of the World Cup. But looking at it again, January is also a very difficult month, to be honest with you. The guys come back from the World Cup. The first game after that, I think, is Boxing Day.
Yeah, Boxing Day.
And there's 2 games in December, West Ham and Brighton. You know, not too bad, negotiable. But then you go to January, man, and it starts getting really difficult again. 3, what I would say, heavy hitters, man. Newcastle at home, Tottenham away, Man United at home. Now,
it's a tough month.
That is a tough month, man. And like I said, those guys will be feeling the effects of the World Cup in terms of, well, physical and mental. So that January set of fixtures is not to be it's not to be taken lightly at all.
Difficult, and you know, maybe we have to go into the January transfer market.
Well,
unlike this January.
So look, it's very interesting, man. And then following on from that, February, Everton, Brentford, Aston Villa and Leicester.
Not too bad.
Not too bad, but again, there's some potentially difficult fixtures there. March, Bournemouth, Fulham, Crystal Palace.
Not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
April we spoke about, and then May. We could be getting down to that part of the season where you need a couple of wins there.
It's a better May than the one we've just had.
Yeah.
Newcastle, Brighton, Forest, Wolves. You know, if you was chasing top 4.
Well, hopefully we will be. And that was going to be my next question. So we spoken last week about your your sort of realistic targets, and you were saying, look, we need to make a push for the Champions League. Do you feel that these fixtures, you know, and how they're juxtapositioned, do you think it gives us a good chance of achieving that?
It gives us a chance.
Do you think, in other words, what I'm saying, do you think the fixtures have been kinder to us this season?
It's not bad. Listen, they always say you've got to play everyone, but I think the start and the end of the season is pretty decent. Obviously, in the middle, there's some difficult months. It all depends on who we sign. You know, as we're sitting here right now, if you said to me, will Arsenal get top 4 right now? I would say no, because we haven't signed anybody outside of Marquinhos, and we're playing catch up. To catch those teams, we have to improve. If we get Jesus, Tielemans, 2 or 3 others, Saliba's back, and they click as well, you know, you need the new signings to come in and do well pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
I think with Tielemans and Jesus, what's good is they've both played in the Prem, they both speak the language, they know players who play for us. It's not difficult for them to settle in.
Battle ready.
So if we get those guys in, then we've got a chance. You know, Chelsea, as of yet, they haven't really got started in the window. The takeover's only just happened. Tottenham look like they're moving. So it's all about who we sign. If we sign the right players and we're prepared, we've got a chance. But as we say, it's a big if.
So who would you say then, it's another talking point, are our biggest rivals for a potential top 4 place? I mean, I think it's fairly safe to assume that it's going to be Man City and Liverpool again at the top. Yeah. But, you know, Chelsea are been through a lot. Yeah. Now they've got a new owner, but it's going to take time for them to, you know what I mean, recover their mojo, as it were.
Yeah.
United, now, I would imagine they're not going to be as bad as they were last year, but I do think it's going to take them a while to get things back on track. So, I don't know, man. I'm not sure if they're going to get top 4, but, you know.
Again, a lot's down to the window. I think Ten Hag's got a harder job on his hands than a lot of people like Ten Hag, but I'm like, he's never been in this league. It's going to be a hard season for him. And they've lost the likes of Pogba and players like that. So
absolutely.
I think United will be in and around the top 4. I think United, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, maybe
what about
West.
Newcastle?
It depends who they sign. I still think they're 3 or 4 big signings away from being in that. I think for them this year.
Because it's interesting about Newcastle. Sorry to interrupt. I heard an interesting statistic. I've got that out right. Where they were saying that if you looked at their form towards the end of the season, if that had been over the course of the season, they would have finished in 4th place.
Wow. That's crazy, isn't it?
You know what I mean? Eddie Howe's doing a good job there. He's going to have a lot of money to spend. So they could be a legitimate threat to us next season.
I think it will take them more than one season to get in the top 4 race, but if they sign the right players, they'll definitely be up there. I think West Ham got a chance as well. You know, obviously they did well last year. If they signed some players, their squad was a little bit short at the end, but I think really you're looking at us, Chelsea, Tottenham, Man United really probably the main ones for them. And 2 spots outside of Liverpool and City.
And of course, this season for us will be a bit different than last season insofar as this season we do have European football.
And 5 substitutes you can make.
Mind you, that's a good point, So
you've got to have squad depth, you know. You need to be... The likes of Man City, think about the 5 players they'll be bringing on. You know, that could have a big effect. I know a lot of the lower teams in the Premier League, they didn't want 5 subs for that reason, as they think it gives an advantage to the bigger teams. So we need to take advantage of that, but you need to be bringing on proper players who can change the game, you know. So it's all about recruitment, man, in the summer. It's all about recruitment.
It is, I'm just going to wrap up this segment about 6 talking points. So looking at the fixtures, looking at some of the other teams, you spoke about your wishes, your sort of target. But realistically, where do you think Arsenal? Do you think a top 4 place is something that can be achieved?
It's achievable. It's achievable, but they've got to get the players in. But at this moment, we're not there. So,
are you confident that the board will bring in the players? Because
I think it's very difficult to be confident that Arsenal will bring in the right players because we've been in this position how many times? You know, we've always been linked with the right players, don't quite sign the right players. So until, to be honest, I'm going to say no. Until they show me that the signings are through the door, they're holding up the shirt. It's very difficult to be confident with the likes of Kroenke and that. So, but listen, this is the summer where we will find out how serious this club is. You know, are the Kroenkes really about that life? Is Edu capable of negotiating big transfers? And is Arteta as good a manager as some people have hyped him up to be. I think we're going to see everything.
Find out, yeah.
I think
there was a little story going around, or a little rumour, that Arteta wasn't best pleased with some of the transfer activity, or lack thereof, as we've said many times before. What was your thoughts on that?
It's understandable.
Do you think there's some truth to it? Or
I think there has to be.
Right.
I do think with stories like that, when you start talking about a manager and him having feelings towards the board, I don't think newspapers can't really just say that. They will sometimes, but I feel like there has to be a little bit of smoke there.
No smoke without fire.
Yeah, and I think
I'll tell you what I thought was interesting about that, if I could just say, is that previously, myself, and I know you kind of held this view as well, we've kind of said that one of the reasons why this board is so enthused about Arteta is that they don't see him as a real threat to them. Yeah. He's not your Conte type of manager where he's going to come banging down the door and threatening to leave if he doesn't get his what he wants. Yeah. So when you hear that he might be a little disgruntled at what's going on, you kind of think, well, is that dynamic shifting a little bit?
Yeah.
Is Arteta now, his feet is under the table a bit more firmly? Now he's going to start to assert himself and say, listen, man, if you guys are serious and you want top four and you want European football and you want this club to go places, you've got to back me.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean with words, it's got to be with action. So I'm kind of looking at that. The narrative on that is shifting a little bit. How do you see that playing out?
Listen,
because if Arteta is a bit more aggressive, rather than passive, it could, you know what I mean? It could unsettle things.
Listen, no matter what I think about Arteta or anybody thinks, he's been Arsenal manager for a few years now. He should have that belief in himself that I can make these demands, and because he looks a very assured manager in terms of he talks with confidence, he's always got his chest out. He should be going to this board saying, listen, you gave me a new 3-year contract. I need the tools to do the job properly. If you want me to get you in the top 4, you've got to get the players in. You can't leave. Everyone's making signings and we're sitting here doing nothing. The targets are there. It sounds as if they want to come to the club. You've just got to put the money down. Yeah. So, you know me, I'm not the biggest Arteta fan, but I'm actually pleased to see that.
To see him doing that,
Sometimes you've got to go against the owners a little bit and say, listen, I can't do the job properly unless you back me. And it's no coincidence now. A few days ago, Arteta's unhappy. Now they're saying 50 million offer for Jesus. So maybe it's triggered something within them. So I'm actually quite pleased to see that.
Yeah, like I said, it's an interesting dynamic and one that I noted with interest because, like I said, could this be the start of something where Arteta's saying, look, he's got his foot under the table now. He's got European football, but he's going to say to him, listen, mate, if you're serious, then put your money on the table. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay then, so thanks Curtis. So our 6 major talking points, I'll just reiterate that for everybody out there watching. We'd love to see what you guys think in the comments. So our 6 talking points was the first game, and we're sort of moving on to a decent, what we hope will be a decent start. September and the Europa League. The months from hell, October and April. The effects of the World Cup. Overall, are you happy? And then in its entirety, realistically, what do you guys think, given the fixtures, where we can achieve or what we can achieve next season? Happy with that, Kurt?
Yeah.
Anything you want to add in?
No.
That's it? Oh.
They get the transfers in, that's it.
Yeah, as Curtis says, that's going to be a big part of things. If we can do the right business, get it done in good time, we should be okay. So let's hope we can do that. And we come to the end of the show. Thanks everybody for watching. Truly appreciate that from the heart. We absolutely do appreciate you watching and supporting each week. Thanks for that. As I've just listed there, our 6 major talking points arising from the fixtures. Please let us know. You want to keep the show hyperactive, interactive, where you guys let us know what you think and we can feed off that. So thank you very much. Curtis, is there anything you want to say in closing?
No.
Other than let us know where you are on your socials.
Check out the channel, Curtis Shaw TV, for the 127th
time. Yeah.
No,
so you know the drill.
Looking forward to the season, man. It's one of them, innit? When Arsenal aren't there, you kind of miss it. And then when they are there, they drive you mad. But yeah.
I must say though, when the fixtures come out, it's quite an exciting time, isn't it? Because you can kind of project forward and you sort of pinpoint certain games and you think, yeah, man, it sort of gives you that energy where you think, you can't wait. And I'm sure fans from all over the country are feeling exactly the same way. So Great to have you on board again,
man,
bro. Thanks for your comments, thanks for your insights, and thanks to you guys for watching. And we'll catch you next week.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.